let's talk about truck accidents and trucking accidents in terms of what those causes would be across the board. What are the five leading causes to truck accidents in North America? Okay. We have to talk about this because today I saw something talked about where someone, we won't mention who, you guys may be able to figure that out as if you're someone that studies the industry and not only participates in it as a participating business, but someone said today in regards to truck accidents and in regards to unruly trucking companies that most of this stuff happens because of substance abuse. Okay. Now, we have to say substance abuse because this is just being polite, respectful. But this individual said it in a very disrespecting way towards truck drivers, towards carriers. And I think it's absolutely ridiculous that someone would come out in public, someone that's trying to make money off the backs of trucking companies, comes out to say that m- most of North American trucking companies, whether in USA or Canada, deal with substance abuse as the number one reason why trucking accidents happen and why companies may perform badly. But there are a lot of other reasons before we get to that place, okay, that cause trucking accidents in the first place, that lead to trucking accidents, okay? We have to talk about the other four before we get to number five on the list, which is substance abuse. Okay. Um, we can talk about the reasons behind substance abuse. Okay. It's not that these are bad people. Okay. So we'll get there in this video. But number one, overall, across the board, it's driver error. Believe it or not, number one is driver error. Out of all the causes of trucking accidents, driver error is 10 times more likely to be the cause of a crash than any other factor. And according to a recent study by the FMCSA, this has come out and they've kind of narrowed it down into four critical areas to suggest this to be true. Okay. One of those things is non performance. So, for example, the driver fell asleep. Okay. He was disabled by a heart attack or a seizure, or was physically impaired for another reason. Number two on that list for driver error, so 1B if you want to say it, is recognition. The driver was not the driver was inattentive. Okay, they were distracted by something inside or outside the vehicle or failed to observe the situation adequately for some other reason, whatever that may be. Number 1C, decision. Okay, the driver was driving too fast for the conditions that were out on the road. They misjudged the speed of other vehicles or followed other vehicles too closely, and this followed to accidents. And number four, or one D, is performance. Maybe the driver panicked, overcompensated, or exercised poor directional control. Okay, so this is number one on the list. Number two is driver training. Okay, so again, driver error is number one for reasons for truck accidents, but it does obviously then make sense that more emphasis needs to be placed on driver training. Okay, there are several key factors that result in this, but it all stems down to poor training, lack of training. Okay, and there has to be a curricula, there has to be a licensed training program to show mandatory entry level trainings for these drivers, a curricula for them to study. Okay, and it has to be something that they are developed as drivers by licensed and qualified instructors that have been there and done that. Okay, kind of like the Million Miler Club, right? They got to be someone that knows what they're doing and how to safely operate a vehicle 10 times out of 10. Okay, and so number two on the list is driver training, not substance abuse. And to suggest otherwise is going against the studies that are performed by the very organization that strictly follows carriers and make sure that they're doing things properly, because otherwise those carriers get fines, very big fines. And God forbid anything else that we won't talk about. Okay? Number 3 on that list is equipment failure. Okay? Obviously, a driver is only as good as the truck that they're in. So mechanical breakdown could quickly result in a very bad accident, catastrophic accident. Okay, and what's crazy is the Highway Safety's fatal causation study that was done by an insurance institute. Okay, they looked at it and said 55% of truck accidents involving injury, that truck that was involved in that accident had at least one mechanical failure. Okay, and this same study also discovered that 30% of trucks had at least one out of service equipment issue. And some of these things could be poorly maintained brakes, improperly inflated worn tires, defective or missing safety equipment, improperly functioning or defective lights, including turn signals, overall poor maintenance, unbalanced cargo, transmission failure, part manufacturing defects. And recognizing that equipment failures do cause accidents, the FMCSA then requires every truck driver and company to perform a pre-trip inspection as well as regular inspections and maintenance of their trucks throughout the year. Again, number 3, not substance abuse. Number 4 on that list is company priorities as well. Okay, so a trucking company's commitment to meeting client delivery deadlines, right? Leading to what? Unrealistic scheduling, improper loading, improper securement, driver fatigue, driver stress. The result is a greater likelihood of an accident. And according to the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, OSHA, motor vehicle crashes cost employers $60 billion annually in medical care, property damage, legal expenses, lost productivity. The average crash costs an employer $17,000. And when a worker has an on-the-job that results in an injury, the cost to their employer is $75,000. And when there's a fatality involved, those costs exceed over $500,000. In addition to this, the tragedy is that these crashes are preventable, okay, through a company-wide commitment to driver safety, not just pointing the fingers at the driver, but an overall company policy to really take safety as a real thing. So that's number 4 is company priorities, not substance abuse. And finally, number 5 on that list, exactly opposite of what this lady was saying, is substance abuse. Number 5 on the list, not number 1. And not that 9 out of every 10 American truckers or 9 out of every 10 Canadian truckers are abusing substances. Okay? And it frustrates me that these companies go out there, they make a profit on drivers. My dad was a driver for 15 years. You know what kind of driver my dad was? When he drove, if he has to leave on the road on Sunday, sorry man, no drinks. Road on Monday, no drinks on a Sunday. Nothing. Water, sure, no problem. Substance abuse, never. My dad was a guy that when he was driving, I've retired him since then, but he took safety as the number 1 priority. He didn't drive a flatbed, he drove a dry van, doesn't matter. Straps, load bars, proper securement, proper loading, weight distribution, everything's got to be 10 out of 10. And so I find it very disrespectful when someone comes out and says 9 out of 10 Canadian or 9 out of 10 American drivers, you know, deserve an F rating in her system because of she thinks they're all, you know what, without saying the words and the different types and schedules. Schedule something, schedule something. And this is data. So if you're going to go out there and claim something about truck drivers, make sure it's accurate. Don't just go out there because you want to make $1 million every month in your program that you think an rating, that mom and pop shop company deserves an F rating because your system said so. No, that's not going to happen. I'm sorry, but I'm not going to stand for such things. What do you guys think? Comments are there for you to share. Thank you.